What a chump. Firstly, let me say, if you're going to do some videoing and you're going to use wireless mics, make sure they're turned on. I didn't have the one over there turned on. I'll start all over again and say all what I said all over again. At the moment, I've just come in here and it's 7.3 degrees with that electronic sort of eye level thermostat thing there. And I've set a timer up above it. And what I'm going to do is, obviously my pipes come, my 75mm hose, which is expandable and bendable, so I can now get on and do the recirc air to recirculate. How am I going to know whether it's done any good and whether it's been worth the effort of doing that? Well, I thought, it's not a lab test because it ain't a lab, is it? But I'm going to, from 7.3 degrees, I'm going to fire the unit up and I'm going to select a higher temperature, much higher temperature, and I'm going to run it for an hour. I'll set that timer going, I'll run it for roughly an hour, and let's see what temperature it achieves at that thermostat in here. And then probably later today, and I'd have to conduct that same test tomorrow, I guess, when the temperature's back down again to around 7 degrees. And I'll do it again with the recirc piping, and let's see if it's a benefit of pulling the warm air from up at the ceiling level and putting it back through the heater. Now, it might not have shown much, I don't know, but we'll do it again for exactly 1 hour and we'll see what the temperature rises to. If it's no higher, then another test I'd have to do later would be to pull that back off again and check it and see how much fuel it's used, because it could be as it gets up to its set point that the hertz rate of the pump piston might slow down more than it would do without that pipe on. I'm sure it's going to be of a benefit, because I did do the laser thing, didn't I, the thermometer, and you could see that up there it were like 18, down here at a 7, and midway it were around 15, 16. So there's a few degrees up there of heat that you don't feel down here, and you wouldn't until the heat absorption came down, which it does over a period of time. So, but I remember years ago when I was an electrician, we used to do quite a bit of air conditioning in big stores like Curry's PC World and lots of them, BGM Freezer Food Centres, believe it or not, they had air conditioning, and others. And recirc air were a big thing, recirc, and it always pulled from in the ceiling, because in those shops they used to have like an artificial ceiling, and you could look through, you could see all the ducting and cable tray and armoured cables and everything, and the return air were pulled from up there where it was stifling hot. If we had to go in and pull any more cables in high level, you were absolutely sweating. Yet down at ground level it were like 19. Enough. The other thing I've done is the controller. I'd noticed I'd stuck it on the wall with two-way sticky pads, the number plate type sticky pads, and I noticed I could hardly read it. So I clipped it out of its holder, and I noticed if I tilted it towards me, as in tilting it at an angle, it was crystal clear and right bright. But as I twisted it back again, it would dim again. Now, a lot of people on YouTube have been putting extra LEDs inside them to light the screen up brighter. But can I show you it? I might have to just set the camera out of that down so I can see. Turn my light out. It's great. Now, before I couldn't see that hardly. Even with light turned out, it was very dim. I've lost my light switch. Yeah, and the battery's just about to cut out on this. So that is great. It's great now. All right, I'm going to get on with it, and I'll come back when we've got some sort of results. Right, I've just switched it on, and I'm selecting a temperature that it probably won't achieve. So let's select, say, 20, no, let's go right up, 25 degrees. I've set that at 25. It's just getting itself ready to fire up the heater plugs on, and I have just switched on the timer a minute and 14 seconds ago, and it's showing that temperature in here. It was 7.3 wasn't it earlier, so it has risen slightly, probably from my body heat, or probably from my big gob talking. Okay, as I say, I'm going to leave that now for an hour, get this fired up, see what temperature we achieve in an hour, and really, I might even mark the fuel container and I'll see how much it's gone down to. Right, well, there's a torch in here. I'll find a torch. So, we've done the asbestos wrap under there, and that goes right from where it comes out of the unit and into the steel tube that I put in the wall, which is a piece of exhaust pipe actually. But as I say, I am to packed it from outside yet. There's still quite a lot of it there on roll. So these are the fittings I bought with the idea of doing this recirc with them and a piece of pipe that I bought, but unfortunately the diameter's too small. I don't know if you can notice, but the diameter's too small. That's going to cause a restriction on that inlet side. Not a good idea. So I've decided to wait until my piece of pipe come, and it has the day after it came, because it's come from China as that, and it's taken like 2 weeks. Okay guys, I'll come back when we've got some results. Right, see if I can get this. I don't know if I can. No, I can't do it. Shoot. I'm trying to show. I don't think this is on full bore, and I can't get to it. Right, it's running at 4 Hertz, and it'll run up to 5.5 or 5.6, is it? 5.4. Just to let you know that this heater's running, but it's not running at full bore, because we're running it for an hour, and I don't want to do it tomorrow and it be different and a different stroke. Let me turn the lights back on. I only turned them off so you could see that better. So yeah, I'll need to make sure it runs just at that speed tomorrow. I can tell because it's not that noisy in this fan. It's me near it with microphone, and that's not that loud really. It's fairly quiet. So far, I'm going to edit this out so I can come back when I've moved it. Right, lights out, torch on. Right, so far we've been running for what, 47 minutes come up, and we're up to 14.2. What were it 9? Can't remember what it was when we started, but I will look back through the video. But I'm going to run it for an hour, but as I've just shown you, we're not actually running at full bore. I thought the fan wasn't running at full speed, and it isn't. It's only down at 4 point something Hertz. It might be because it's getting up to its set point temperature over there. That's another thing, is that says 14.2 on there. And over here, so it's saying it, over here by this thermostat, it's saying it's 17 degrees, and that one there is showing 14.3. So I don't know which is the real world one. I do suspect that this one is probably more the one, I'm not saying more accurate, but more reliable, because it's in the middle of the workshop. That is over, it's not, it's near the outlet vent, the hot air outlet vent. However, the outlet vent isn't pointing at that, it's pointing away from it. But I don't mean to say it's not catching somewhat warm air, does it? Anyway, 49 minutes, we'll keep it running. I'll stop it at an hour. Oh, the other thing I forgot to show was We'll see how much clearer that is. But that's the little bracket I made, so you can see the angle it's at. So that's worked out a lot better for me. I can look straight at it and see it, and bright as hell, it's great. So far we've had 100% success with everything. After 1 hour, we're at 51 minutes. I might be better using this camera. Well, 9 minutes to go, and we'll knock it off and we'll see where we've gone with that. Right, there we go. 1 hour from being down at, what was it, 9 degrees, and we're reading 15.7. That's run for 1 hour on it. I say fully, it ain't fully, it's running at 4.3 or 4.4 hertz, so it's not on full. It's probably 3/4. But I'll make sure tomorrow when I do this same test, I'll make sure it's exactly the same. Now for reference. Okay, so I've got the vent up there, the rotating one comes through there, down through the shelves, down to there, across here, and back into the heater. So we've now got a full recirc system, and hopefully drawing warm air from ceiling and pumping it back through the heater, and possibly lessening the usage of diesel. But we shall see tomorrow. And another little job I need to do is when this is run down, this diesel, let it run just about completely out, so it's right down to the dregs, and then put 1 litre in and mark it, and then put another litre in and mark it all the way up, because it's not uniform. First of all, the bottom part's curved, so you've got different capacity to there to there. Also, the fixings for this, look, there's 2 there recessed back, and they are quite big diameter, but at the top you've only got 1, which is that one. So obviously the capacity up here is more than the capacity down there for a given height. That was the mark I've marked up tonight. Roughly, when it's in this area, I worked it out, it's 42 millimeters roughly per litre, and that's probably 9-10 mil it's used tonight. So if you'd say, what, 1/4 of a litre, but it has been on full bore. So this is it completely finished and running. It's actually up and running. What I do notice about this unit is extremely quiet. That even sounds quieter than my other spatcher did. That is flat out, believe it or not, absolutely flat out. Listen. That's demanding full temperature. So I had to make this pipe fit on here, which is much bigger than this. I split it in 4 places to get it on, and there's a big Jubilee clip behind there holding it on, but there were a couple of little gaps in the splits, so I've put the duct tape around that so it's completely sealed. So now we're not pulling cold air out of the garage anymore, we're pulling recirc air from the ceiling. And tomorrow I'll do that test if I can get it to start off at 9 degrees, and we'll do a run for an hour and just see how it's going. But already I think there's benefit, I'm sure, already, but then it's not that cold tonight. It's not really cold, but temperature's already back up to 13.3. I think it had got down to 10.5. I left the door open so that on purpose I left the door open to try and cool the room so I could do this test again, but I can't. So the noisiest thing about it is the air outlet. And there you go. Still needs clipping back to the wall. And a clip on it. That's going to need the filter putting on. Right guys, I did the return air job. This is another day. This is actually New Year's Day, Sunday. But I've come out twice before. Last night I came out and had a look, and the temperature went down in 7s. It were up at 8 point something, nearly 9. So I couldn't do the test. So that's at 7.5 degrees. So I'm going to just fire the burner up and run it for exactly 1 hour, like I did with the other, and see if the temperature gets up any higher. Now I've got the return air on. I set it at 25 didn't I before? 26. I'm at 26. On. Right, turned it on. Let's get this. That's counting up. We'll give it an hour. Yeah, a bit of a funny one really. I came out yesterday morning around dinner time, and I thought that diesel's gone down a little bit. I thought that a bit funny, that. I wonder if I've got a leak. So I checked the pipe run and I couldn't see anything. I went back in the house and I'm scratching my head, not my hair, my head, and later on I came out and looked in here for the temperature, and it was about 8 point something, maybe 9 degrees, and I thought, oh, it's quite warm. With that, went back in. Later on, went out back for a smoke, stood at back door. I'm thinking, I can hear a roar or something. I walked down here and my burner's on. It's running. So reading instructions is something that I'm useless at, and I'd obviously been pressing loads of buttons on the controller, and I've obviously set a timer going, a time clock or something in there, and it must have been coming on and off every so many hours. So it's probably used probably 2 or 3 litres or so. There's still plenty in it, so we're okay. But I can't do that check of how much diesel it's going to use. I can't really do that test because I've used some now and the marks have gone because it's gone down. I do need to mark it up properly so I know exactly where I am. It'd be nice to have a little fuel gauge on there, wouldn't it? Okay, I'll turn this off now and we'll see where we get. I don't think the burner's actually fired yet. Right, so that's run for an hour and it's reached 17.8. I'll show you the hertz it's running at, because it's reached quite hot. According to that thermometer over there, it's totally different to this one. It's reading a lot higher, is that, and it's started to ramp down. There you go. So 1 hour, 17.8. I'll pull the camera out and just show you. So if I click it down, it'll tell you hertz it's running at. So it's dropped down to 3.2. Well, no, 3.3. When I've clicked it down one, it's knocked it to 3.2. And the fan's really slowed down. Still pillicking loads of heat out, or belching loads of heat out, to not use foul language. So yeah, happy with the results actually. So since I did the video showing the temperature in here. I think where it's 17 point something, I don't know, but it's 18.2 in here, and it's kept at that pretty much for the last 2 hours, and that is running its absolute slowest. If I click that, right, I've got it set at 8 degrees now, and that's what that's set at, so that makes this run at its slowest, which if you listen, that's 1.4 hertz, and that's the unit running. I'm just about to knock it off. See, I cocked up. What that clock there is telling me it's 23:42 time. Is that correct? No, it's 22:42. That's an hour out, is that? It's sorry, 20. No, that's correct. That's okay. It's that one, 22. Right, 22:42. That's the correct time. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Look, you see that? Off. 2 off. So that was telling me, leave that alone, because that's setting a lock up, and I don't want to set a lock up. But that was set 2 timers, and they must have been on. I must have been pressing buttons, not knowing that timer were there, and that's what we're bringing the thing on and off. So, but we've been running this for a lot of hours, and we've gone from that mark there, which I put when I put the 5 litres in, by 5.4 or whatever, and we're down to probably half of that now. But that's run a lot of hours. It's been running most at night tonight since I set it all up. I ran it yesterday. It'd been running on its own because of this silly timer. I don't know how many times it came on, whether it were going cycling round, I don't know, or whether it just did 2, I don't know. But yeah, brilliant. So I'll add that in fact I'll edit that bit into the other video, because I'm going to go in now and do some editing. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and this, I think this is part 4, but there's quite a few videos I've done prior to this on the device. So I blued it all up ready to start marking it up for the cutting and drilling. So after I've done the flats on them, I'll probably drill the holes to sort this out, and then start making the fixtures that hold the units in. But we're getting there. Hi again guys, so this is the end of the little test I did, and it wasn't about basically how much fuel I could not use or whatever. Fuel, let me just add a bit in here. So I found a place that did gas oil, which is basically red diesel, a petrol station, and it's in a place called Featherstone near Pontefract, if any of you know where that is, although it's hardly worth you bothering. I took a 25 litre drum that somebody had given me, a plastic drum, had it in the back of the van, went in, said to the guy, can I have some gas oil? He says, yeah, sure, have you got a container? I said, yeah, I've got a 25 litre container. He said, help yourself. No forms to fill in, no registration numbers taken, although he could probably get that off his camera, but he never said anything. I never checked price it out, so I went and filled it in. Filled it up. I got 27.5 litres, I think, in it. So in fact, hold that. I'm going to pause it and start again. So thumbs up and I'll come back to you. So I'm going to go get receipt. Right, I'm back. I've just been in and got receipt. So gas oil. It's called the Mill Pond Garage, Wakefield Road, Featherstone, West Yorkshire. Pump 1 gas oil, 27.2 litres I managed to get into that container. at, are you ready for this? So Tesco, near me, it's about 170 to 171 right now, as in was yesterday, for normal white diesel. This was 159.9, so £1.60. From me to where that place is, probably 40 mile round trip in my van. Van does 38 at gallon. It's the Vivario bi-turbo thing, you know, the little 1600 diesel engine. Really good on fuel, but it wasn't worth it. 11p maybe difference, 12p. Just wasn't worth a 40 mile round trip. So it cost me £43.49. But having said that, that container, knowing how much diesel this thing's used in now, I'd like to think that'll last me right through the winter with that one container at 43 quid, which would probably do me in electricity, if I were using electric heating, I reckon 5 to 6 days I'd use that in electric, if I were using electric heating, because once you're up to temperature it up and down and off. So just to let you know, the red diesel isn't that cheap. You might be able to get it cheaper near you. As far as running it on kerosene and paraffin and old engine oil and all them things, I'm not even going to attempt it, because if you look on YouTube, there's guys stripping them down and they're absolutely shocker with coke. There's people having pumps, piston seasoning pumps because no lubrication. Gas oil, diesel is a good lubricant, so I'm going to stick with diesel. When that's gone, which whenever it is, I'll probably just use normal pump diesel. Okay, so our conclusion to our results that we got, what are we at now? Yeah, it's still at 17.8, is it? Yep. So the test I did 2 days ago, when I started it was 7.1 degrees in here. So admittedly today we're 7.5, so it was slightly warmer by 0.4 of a degree. I can't do anything about that. I did keep coming in and having a look and seeing, but as I said earlier, thing had been kicking in on its own and temperature were higher. Okay, so the other day was 7.1 degrees starting at 4 hertz for the test. After 1 hour we reached at 4 hertz, it never changed, at 15.7 degrees on this thermostat or thermometer here, and that's the one I've used for this time. So tonight we started off at 7.5 degrees, so we're 0.4 of a degree higher. Unfortunately I can't do naught about that, it's just how it was. So it was slightly higher to start with, so you've got to take that into consideration. But also consider I've now got full recirc from the ceiling up there back into the heater. There's no cold air from the garage or from outside affecting it anymore. It's taking back whatever it's warming up in here and recycling it. So it started at 7.5 degrees. We ran it at 4 hertz for exactly 1 hour, which you've seen. And unfortunately, the pump, because it were reaching up near what it saw as 25, 26 degrees over there, even though it wasn't here, it started to slow down, the pump, so obviously using less diesel. And the fan, I noticed the fan slowed down a bit. And at the moment I've dropped it right down to 1.4 now, and can you hear that? Microphone's here, so that's right up to it. I can just hear the tick of the pump in there and a little bit of air coming out, and it seems to be holding temperature. It's still 17.8, it's holding at that. It might crank up and down a bit. Okay, so 17.8 degrees was our finished temperature after 1 hour. So yesterday, day before yesterday, we achieved 15.7 degrees, today 17.8. And the only difference is, apart from starting 0.4 of a degree higher, which is not truly fair, I said it wasn't lab conditions, but 17.8, 15.8, 16, 17, 2.1 degrees higher of finishing temperature, and very comfortable. very comfortable. It's sitting probably too warm now in here. It wants, it might cool a bit, I don't know. But the test proves to me that if you're going to fit one and you've got a chance of doing a recirc air from a high level, pulling the air back into the back of the heater, do it. As I say, it doesn't really matter for those that have got a cassette type that's on the floor within the work area, but mine isn't. It's next door, pulling cold air next door. So doing that, it cost me, what, £11 for a 3 metre length of that flexi, a Jubilee clip, and another vent, which I already had. I hadn't bought that because I bought some extra pipe to do this heating vent down here, and it came with some Jubilee clips and 2 outlets. So I've got 3 outlets fitted, or an inlet and 2 outlets. Absolute 100% success. So all of you that have got them will be probably saying, you've got this wrong, you've got that wrong, or whatever. I've done what I've done, and it ain't really for them. It's anybody who ain't got one who's thinking, oh, I wonder if I can get it cheaper than electric. Oh, aye, definitely a lot cheaper than electric. Once it's up to temperature, it's using less than 1/4 of a litre an hour. I'd say to get it up to temperature from a cold room up to a temperature, so with 4 metres, 3 metres, 2.5. Now, as I've said many times, it is an insulated garage. However, remember this, for those of you that have got large sheds or workshops you've built yourself, and you've got a timber frame and you've put insulation in, and then you've put sterling board on, MDF on, plywood, whatever you've put on the inside, wood is quite a warm product, we know. These sheets of steel, when I come in here and it says 7 degrees, them sheets of steel are 7 degrees, so you feel them and they are cold. Now, steel, obviously, the heat in here has got to warm that steel back up before it gets the referral from the insulation, and obviously that takes time. Probably warming up, well, in an hour it's got up to comfortable, and that's great. And I think it used about half a litre maybe. So let's say it cost 90p, 85p to get it up to temperature. But once it's up to temperature, it holds, the hertz drops down on the controller to a slow pulse. When it does that, probably less than 1/4 of a litre an hour. So if I were in here for, you know, 4 or 5 hours, I'd probably use probably 1.25 litres, let's say on outside 1.5 litres in say 5 hours in winter, and that's still not bad. If you compare that to having a 3 kilowatt heater on, because that Dimplex up there, which I do run sometimes, is 2 1500 watt elements in that, and I've both switches down, so that is running 3 kilowatt. This one, it's badged up on the back to 30 volts, 2 kilowatt, and that's got a stat on it and kicks in and out. I've got loads of different heaters. I'm in gas heater. I've got an oil filled heater down there that I have not used for years. I've got a greenhouse heater which is 120 watt back at milling machine, which I thought I might have to use to take condensation off, but so far I don't think I've ever had it on. I might have had it on once, never used it, but it's there. I won't need to now, will I? Got diesel heater on. Yeah, so all those people on YouTube that tells you how fantastic they are, how reliable it's going to be over the time, we'll find out, and I'll report back if it starts doing anything silly. I got it all completed. At the end, I'll bob some more pictures in of all the finished bits and bats, just so you can see. It's like the exhaust were just hanging outside. I've packed it with insulation inside the tube, and I've pointed it down to the ground. Just thought it'd keep noise away down into the ground, like down to the ground. I mean, it's up here, but I fastened it, made a little alley bracket and fastened that. I've just shown you already, or I'm going to show you. I've altered the position of the controller so I can read it properly. I've put the air filter on. It's complete, everything's finished. So yeah, an install, if you're going to do the one like I've done, it'll probably take you a long day to do. It took me 2 days really, but I'd say, you know, I'm slow. Up and down steps these days I'm very slow. But you know, if you're a bit younger and you're more agile, you probably do a lot in a day. There's not a lot to it, it's just more or less sussing everything out, because I've never done one before. If you've done one, you'd probably do your second one and be simple. I have had an Ebba spatcher, but it was on a boat that we owned a long time ago, and that was obviously professionally fitted into the boat when it was bought new, I guess. And that was superb, and that was lovely. How many kilowatts, I don't know, all I know it was a D3, and I thought a 1 were a 1 kilowatt and a D2 were 2 and 3 were 3, but I don't think that's the case. This is a D2 and it's badged up as 5 to 8 kilowatts, so it's definitely more than 2. When that's on full bore, it nearly burns your arm off, so I'm sure it probably is up near a 5 kilowatt. Whether it ever reaches 8, I don't know. That's another thing. I'm going to go through instructions, because there's something in there where you can alter the frequency of that pump, and the maximum's 5.4, but there's some setting you can take it right up to 8, I think. Now whether that is for a genuine 8 kilowatt one, I don't know. If there's such a thing as an 8 kilowatt one, a lot say there isn't. Thanks for watching, guys. We're going to get back on with this next. In fact, tonight the Hemingway, I've got some more steel out. Unfortunately, it's all I've got, stainless rod, and that's to make the other holders out of, that's going to hold the roller bearings. But it's a different video, so let's not push this. So I'm going to make a start back on the other job. Alright, thanks for watching. It's toasty warm in here now. I need to put my sunglasses on and take my t-shirt off. No, not quite. But yeah, it's a good addition, perfect addition for your workshop. Garage, even house, some people say. I keep telling brother-in-law he's got a bungalow. It's freezing cold. Keep telling him. It's costing him a fortune in gas for him to keep his boiler going. Tell him knock over for a wall and stick one of them things in. Great addition. Happy New Year, everybody. I've just been watching Aid's workshop. I'm going to go back in and watch John's workshop. He's doing something with his shaper, I think, tonight. So I'm going to go have a look at that. So can't keep people out their workshops, can you? Something about, I'm going to say as well, using a milling machine, a lathe, and welding, fabricating, drilling, whatever, in a workshop. It must be because I'm an old guy, but there's something therapeutic about it. I love being in here. I love to come in here and make things, you know, even if it's just a little bracket or something I'm making. It's therapeutic, it really is. And I didn't take this up for a career. Maybe if I had done, then I might not find it therapeutic. I'd probably find it boring. But I didn't. It's a hobby, and it's a recent hobby, really, on the last few years. But what a lovely hobby to have, you know. And it hasn't cost that much. It has. It probably has, with all tooling and stuff. There's probably 8,000 quid in here in total, with every little bit and batsman that I've bought and auction stuff I've got, and yeah, probably 7 or 8 grand. But that includes a 2,000 quid's worth of TIG welder, although I only paid 700, I think 750 or something for it, second hand. I buy everything second hand. I'm a cheapskate, but so what? If you're not going to use them a lot, what's the point of buying brand new? Warranty runs out, and you know, they haven't broke down. They're going to break down the line further on, aren't they? Thanks very much, and we'll see you in the next one. Oh, click us a thumbs up, and if you're watching this for the first time, subscribe. You'll see all sorts of various other things and crap that I do. I try to find it or make it interesting if I can. I try not to make too many mistakes, and I don't show them all, although I should do. Some lads do, and I ought to make a blooper video. I think I did one once. Thanks a lot, guys. Good night. I'm just going to whip the camera out of there. So since I did the video showing the temperature in here, I think where it's 17 point something, I don't know, but it's 18.2 in here, and it's kept at that pretty much for the last 2 hours, and that is running its absolute slowest. If I click that, right, I've got it set at 8 degrees. Right, and that's what that's set at, so that makes this run at its slowest, which if you listen, that's 1.4 hertz, and that's the unit running. I'm just about to knock it off. See, I cocked up. What that clock there is telling me it's 23:42 time. Is that correct? No, it's 22:42. That's an hour out. Is that? It's sorry, 20. No, that's correct. That's okay. It's that one. 22. Right, 22:42. That's the correct time. Okay. 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 Yeah, there you go. Look, you see that? Off. 2 off. So that was telling me leave that alone, because that's setting a lock up, and I don't want to set a lock up. But that was set 2 timers, and they must have been on. I must have been pressing buttons, not knowing that timer were there, and that's what we're bringing the thing on and off. So, but we've been running this for a lot of hours, and we've gone from that mark there, which I put when I put the 5 litres in, by 5.4 or whatever, and we're down to probably half of that now. But that's run a lot of hours. It's been running most at night tonight since I set it all up. I ran it yesterday. It'd been running on its own because of this silly timer. I don't know how many times it came on, whether it were going cycling round, I don't know, or whether it just did 2, I don't know. But yeah, brilliant. So I'll add that in fact I'll edit that bit into the other video, because I'm going to go in now and do some editing. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and this, I think this is part 4, but there's quite a few videos I've done prior to this on the device. So I blued it all up ready to start marking it up for the cutting and drilling. So after I've done the flats on them, I'll probably drill the holes to sort this out, and then start making the fixtures that hold the units in. But we're getting there.